So Gen Zers and even some celebs are moving to more old-school flip phones.
Remember those old-school phones that could survive a fall from the second floor and had batteries that lasted a week? Well, guess what? They're making a comeback. Yep, dumb phones are back in action, and there's more to this revival than just nostalgia. Who would have thought we'd see the day when flip phones and bricks make a comeback? Dumb phones are trending again, and not just because of their retro charm. Let's explore why these old gadgets are gaining popularity.
The market for foldable phones is expected to grow. The International Data Corporation estimates this year's sales could double from last year.
In a world dominated by advanced smartphones, the unexpected resurgence of dumb phones, or feature phones, highlights a growing desire for simplicity and focus in mobile communication.
It would actually be really peaceful, so I'd probably love it.
These basic devices, once deemed obsolete by the rise of multifunctional smartphones, are now being rediscovered and appreciated for their straightforward utility and minimalist appeal. Dumb phones are mobile devices that prioritize basic telecommunication functions over the extensive features found in smartphones. These phones are primarily designed for calling and texting, and they often feature physical keypads, long battery life, and robust builds. They typically lack the app ecosystems, touchscreens, and internet capabilities that characterize modern smartphones. This is the kind of phone that can go for days without needing to be recharged. A phone with a manual keyboard that makes you shorten words or send in typos because the autocorrect feature isn't present. For example, instead of the normal "I will see you later," it is easier to type "see you later." This is the type of phone that serves the most basic functions. They have simple interfaces that make them easy to use for anyone. Unlike certain smartphones which require you to have some knowledge of what various messaging or calling apps to use. So what options will you have when you're looking to get yourself one of these dumb phones? Well, there are several examples you can look into, including the Light phone, the Mind phone, the Palm phone, Punkt MPO2, and the Wise phone 2. For these dumb phones, you'll have to part with between $300 and $380. Before we even look at the next features, it's worth explaining why we need phones. Mobile phones were introduced back in the 80s, particularly due to their portability and extra features like messaging and time management. Instead of having to carry your watch or your compass, the mobile phone would help you there. Back in the day, it was important to develop a phone that was resistant and sturdy. Even when you dropped it on the pavement, the phone would still hold steady, and that's one of the greatest advantages of these dumb phones. Most of them are so durable that you rarely replace them for damage. This is the phone that will serve you for years. Another great feature of the dumb phones is their battery life. A current smartphone will need you to charge it at least, twice a day, but not these baddies. The dumb phone requires charging once and can last you up to 3 days. There are some models that can stay in power for a week. The reason behind this is quite simple. Since dumb phones lack the features and complicated functionalities of the smartphone, they use up little charge. How long can you go without using your smartphone? Well, with a dumb phone, you only use it to receive calls, send texts, or check the time. Of course, there are other features, but they're limited. Another feature that makes the dumb phones interesting is their physical keypad. Not the keypad that pops up on the screen, but something that's always on the phone. The keys have various functions apart from the usual numbers and letters. Some can be used to unlock the phone, navigate, make calls, and even switch on the flashlight. Have you seen the flashlight power some of these dumb phones have? As the name suggests, dumb phones are dumb. Most of them have limited internet access, or the most basic ones. This is another feature that's making dumb phones a trend. In a world where everyone is so consumed by the internet, there is a sweet relief to be found in going offline for a minute, and that's exactly what dumb phones are offering. Now that you've understood what dumb phones are, let us talk about why these phones became unpopular. Modern times come with so much that the world needs to adapt and change. The biggest change came with the advent of the internet, a global network that provides you with information from across the globe. There was a need to create a phone that could fit all the uses the dumb phone did, but would have additional features. And these features would evolve, leading to the current smartphones in the market. And what can't you do without a smartphone? The basic communication function was improved greatly, introducing additional apps such as video call and voice call features to enhance the experience. Then came the texting apps that gave you more than one way to communicate. Nowadays, you can find jobs online. Navigation is so much easier with people traveling to new countries with just the maps on their phones. You can book flights, hotels, vacations, anywhere in the world. You can send and receive money from any place in the country, and so many more features. But the main reason why dumb phones couldn't compete with smartphones has to be social media, a platform that allows people from all over the world to interact with one another, share details and videos on their lives, advertise their business, and so on. As mentioned, with changing times come certain changes. People became so invested in their smartphones that if you showed up with a dumb phone, you looked dumb. In fact, there's a great majority of Gen Z who have no idea how a dumb phone works or even where to get one. Dumb phones found themselves in trouble, with popular dumb phone production companies like Nokia struggling to sell their products. These companies ended up making smartphones too, to meet the current market. Well, it appears that smartphones are the bomb right now, so how come dumb phones are silently making a comeback? So many issues have come with the adaptation and usage of smartphones. Many people now understand the disadvantages that come with having the world at your fingertips. First, there's the addiction issue. Most people have become so addicted to their phones, making it the first thing they use in the morning and the last thing they set aside in bed. There's the issue of dependability, with so many people completely relying on their smartphones for basic things like reminders, alarm clocks, and navigation. Another huge disadvantage of smartphones is that they suck up your time and cause you to spend hours on them. This kind of reliance and dependability has been found to have negative effects on the body, physically and mentally. So many people are struggling with sleep due to the long hours spent on phones. Furthermore, certain research done on the topic has shown that prolonged exposure to smartphones can exacerbate mental health issues. And in what world is over-reliance on something healthy? There have been numerous cases where people have become depressed, antisocial, and bipolar due to the smartphone. Add that to the numerous security issues where people's private data have been stolen by cyber terrorists. Dumb phones offer a solution to all these problems. With this phone comes a digital detox. The concept of a digital detox is central to the appeal of dumb phones. As people become increasingly aware of the negative impacts of excessive screen time, such as stress, reduced attention span, and sleep disturbances, there's a growing movement towards reducing dependence on digital devices. Dumb phones, with their limited functionality, provide an effective tool for those looking to disconnect from the digital world and reclaim their time and mental space.
I feel like that's the movement that we're seeing nowadays, which is I want to find information, I want to make it practical for my life, and after that, I'm just going to go live my life, which I think it's a better, ethos for our time.
Another selling point of these phones is their simplicity and their affordability. The simple hardware on these phones allows the user to pay more focus to other aspects of their lives. Instead of huddling together at the dinner table, laughing silently over TikTok videos, you take time to converse, ask how the day was, focus on nature, and give the family much needed attention. This makes it very easy for you to adopt a minimalist lifestyle. You focus more on the things that matter and clear out unwanted clutter in your life. You feel more in touch and connected with the people around you. Furthermore, you avoid the many distractions that are associated with smartphones. The constant notifications, reminders, and alerts can cause you to never put your phone down. The only thing you get with dumb phones is simple texts. This leads one to lead a more calming and mindful life. What happens when your phone runs out of charge then? The cold sweat that trickles down your forehead, especially when you remember that you've not carried your charger, or the numerous hilarious ways that people try to charge their smartphones with broken chargers. Well, dumb phones help reduce that anxiety. You simply charge this phone once and don't have to worry about the phone for days on end. Have you seen the price tags on smartphones as well? And what's worse is that a new version is coming up almost every year, so there's the pressure to have the best phone on the market. Of course, this means you have to give an arm and a leg to afford some of these models. But dumb phones are so cheap and efficient. They enable you to perform the most basic functions without sacrificing a 3-month salary. Some of these dumb phones have added features like internet access, therefore you can easily get whatever you need without having to pay hefty fees for data management. Studies have shown that taking a digital cleanse works wonders for the mind, allowing your brain to get in touch with nature and surrounding environment. Who wouldn't want that? In an age where data breaches and privacy concerns are rampant, dumb phones offer a reprieve. With fewer capabilities for internet access and app usage, they present a smaller target for hackers. Emerging markets play a significant role in the future of dumb phones. In regions where smartphone penetration is limited by economic constraints, dumb phones remain essential. For instance, a report by GSMA highlights that feature phones accounted for over half of mobile phone sales in Africa in recent years. In these markets, dumb phones are indispensable, providing vital communication tools where smartphones are not feasible. Despite their simplicity, dumb phones are not immune to technological advancements. Many modern dumb phones now come equipped with 4G capabilities, providing faster and more reliable network access. Advances in battery technology have further extended their impressive battery life, making them even more appealing. Another thing that's making dumb phones popular right now is the nostalgia aspect. For many, these devices harken back to a simpler time before the advent of smartphones, evoking memories of their first mobile phone or the early days of mobile communication. The tangible, tactile experience of using a dumb phone, with its physical buttons and simple interface, contrasts sharply with the sleek, touch-centric design of modern smartphones. Have you ever walked down the street and the smell of street food makes you miss home or simpler times? Well, that's what dumb phones are doing. They not only remind people of the good old days, but they give someone the chance to relive what might have been the best moments of their lives. The majority of people using dumb phones are those looking to go back to simpler times, or the basics. There are seniors who want to have a phone they can keep handy without worrying about recharging or cracking the screen when it falls. It's also people who are working in various hard industries like farms or building and construction or fishing. They too don't want any distractions in their work, so they need a gadget that is friendly. But surprisingly, there's a group of teenagers and young adults who are slowly turning to dumb phones, either for a digital detox, embracing minimalism, or avoiding over-reliance. These groups of people are quite aggressive in their decisions, as is the language of Gen Z, and they're campaigning for more people to join their move to dumb phones. Additionally, parents prefer to give their children dumb phones to ensure that their mental well-being is being catered for. In summary, the list of people using dumb phones is growing bigger and bigger by the second. The market for dumb phones, also known as feature phones, has shown a surprising resurgence in recent years, driven primarily by a growing consumer desire to reduce screen time and digital distractions. This trend contrasts sharply with the previous dominance of smartphones, which continually evolve with more sophisticated features and larger screens since their rise to prominence in the late 2000s. Dumb phones were the standard mobile device before the advent of smartphones. Models like the Nokia 3310, Motorola Razr, and various others from brands such as Sony Ericsson and Samsung were prevalent throughout the 1990s and early 2000s. These devices were primarily used for basic functions such as calling, texting, and playing simple games. However, the launch of the iPhone in 2007 marked a significant shift in the mobile phone industry. Smartphones, with their advanced capabilities including internet browsing, app usage, multimedia functions, rapidly became the norm. As a result, the sale of feature phones plummeted. According to Counterpoint Research, the global smartphone market grew exponentially from 139 million units in 2008 to over 1.4 billion units in 2022, reflecting a significant decline in the market share of dumb phones. In recent years, there's been a notable resurgence in the popularity of dumb phones, particularly among younger generations who seek to limit their screen time and reduce dependency on smartphones. This trend is often associated with a desire for a digital detox and a more mindful approach to technology use. HMD Global, the company behind the Nokia brand, reported a rise in feature phone sales in 2022, with tens of thousands of units sold monthly in the US alone. This resurgence is largely attributed to Gen Z consumers, who are increasingly aware of the mental health implications associated with excessive smartphone use. The data supporting this trend indicates a shift in consumer behavior. For example, in 2022, the sale of feature phones saw an uptick as users sought alternatives to constant connectivity. TikTok videos flagged with #FlipPhone have garnered over 650 million views, suggesting a significant cultural and aesthetic appeal. Influencers often highlight the simplicity and nostalgia associated with these devices, further driving their popularity. Additionally, forums such as the r/dumbphone subreddit have grown in membership, with users sharing tips and experiences on how to transition from smartphones to feature phones. This community reflects a broader societal trend towards minimalism and purposeful tech usage. Comparative sales data from recent years illustrates this shift. While the overall smartphone market continues to grow, the pace has slowed, and there's a discernible niche market emerging for feature phones. In 2023, HMD Global's reports indicated strong sales of feature phones in contrast to a slower growth rate for smartphones. So, while the resurgence of dumb phones has its charm, it's not without downsides. One of the biggest gripes people have with dumb phones is their limited functionality. Sure, they're great for calling and texting, but beyond that, not much. No social media, no streaming services, no fancy apps. For many, the convenience and multitasking capabilities of smartphones are too hard to give up. Imagine not being able to check your emails on the go, or navigate with Google Maps, or even snap a quick photo to share with friends. It's like stepping back into the digital dark ages. We live in a world where being connected is almost a necessity, from work emails to social media updates. Smartphones have become an integral part of daily life. For instance, many people rely on apps for banking, ride-sharing, fitness tracking, and even grocery shopping. Switching to a dumb phone can feel like a massive step back in terms of convenience and accessibility. Sure, a digital detox sounds nice, but when you need to find the quickest route to your next meeting or transfer money instantly, a smartphone's capabilities are hard to beat. There's also the argument that the nostalgia factor is overhyped. Remembering the good old days of playing Snake on a Nokia 3310 is one thing, but living with such limited tech in today's fast-paced world, well, that's another story. Nostalgia can be a powerful draw, but it's not always practical. For many, the initial excitement of going retro fades quickly when faced with day-to-day limitations. As more people jump on the dumb phone bandwagon, there's potential for fragmentation in communication. While smartphones allow seamless communication through various apps and services, dumb phones are pretty much limited to calls and texts. That can make staying in touch with others who use more advanced tech a little bit tricky. Imagine trying to coordinate plans with friends who are all on different messaging apps when you're stuck with SMS only. It could get frustrating fast. The future of dumb phones is promising, with several potential developments on the horizon. Integration with the Internet of Things could find new relevance for dumb phones, serving as dedicated devices for controlling smart home systems or other IoT applications. Increased customization options might allow users to tailor their phones to specific needs and preferences, further broadening their appeal. Additionally, the cultural shift towards valuing offline time might drive more people to adopt dumb phones as primary or secondary devices. Companies might also adopt dumb phones for employees to ensure focus and productivity, particularly in roles where smartphones can be a distraction or security risk. The resurgence of dumb phones underscores a significant shift in consumer attitudes towards mobile communication. Driven by the desire for simplicity, focus, affordability, and enhanced privacy, these basic devices offer a compelling alternative to the all-encompassing nature of smartphones. As the digital detox movement grows and technological advancements continue, dumb phones are carving out a renewed space in the technology landscape. They remind us that sometimes less truly is more, and that the future of mobile communication can be both simple and sophisticated. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.